with Close.io. Today, I'm super excited to do the Inbound Sales Kung Fu webinar session. This is going to be all about improving your inbound sales process, effectiveness, and at the end of the day, the thing we all care about most, which is improving the quality and quantity of the deals that you guys are closing through incoming leads to your company. A little bit about my background and why I both care deeply about sales and inbound sales, and why I hopefully have a little bit of expertise in the topic. We started a company a few years back called Elastic. Elastic was offering a service called Elastic Sales, where we would work with startups, mostly SaaS businesses and technology businesses in Silicon Valley, offering them an outsourced sales team on demand. We do a lot of sales consulting and a lot of sales outsourcing, and we helped, this slide is outdated, we helped over 200 venture-backed startups in Silicon Valley alone to scale their sales efforts successfully. In the process of doing Elastic Sales and having kind of a secret sales lab in the heart of Silicon Valley, we built a secret sauce software that we internally use to outperform and outcompete sales teams out there, called Close.io. Close.io is really an inside sales tool and an inbound sales tool that we use to really scale sales massively and that we release to the world. And probably that's the way that many of you guys have heard about today's session, and many of you are customers. So kind of that with Elastic Sales, we hands-on helped around 200 venture-backed startups scale their sales. With Close.io, we're helping thousands of salespeople around the world. So sales is definitely something we care deeply about. Now, let's look into inbound sales today. First, a little definition. Inbound sales basically defines any kind of sales activity that you do where prospects and leads are coming to you, as opposed to outbound sales, where you go out to prospect and find and generate leads, people and companies that have never heard of you. Typically, there's 9 steps in the entire sales process for inbound sales. Number 1, usually there's some kind of traffic that's been generated, some way, there's many ways to get people's attention and companies' attention directed to your business, service, and offering. The second step is to take that attention and that traffic in the online business and turn it into some kind of a first conversion, a sign up, a request a demo, a contact form, whatever it is, writing a comment on your blog, whatever it is. Somebody comes to you, gets aware of your service and your business and your product, and then converts to some level of interest, signals that there's a little bit of interest in what you're doing, your service and offering. And after that, your job really starts in inbound sales. After somebody comes to your site and converts at the first higher level, your job in sales is now to activate them. And there's a lot of things you can do with the product. But ultimately, on the sales side, what you really want to do in inbound sales is call and email these signups or demo requests or people that contact your company and activate them from somebody who showed some interest to somebody that now engages actively in your sales process. Once they are activated and you can engage in some form of communication with them, you want to qualify them. Once they're qualified, typically you give them some kind of a demo or pitch about your product and service. You'll have to, as a next step, typically manage objections, problems they have, questions they have, things that don't quite work out. And then if there's real buying interest, you usually will phase into some kind of a negotiation phase. And you'll have to do a bit of follow-up, and hopefully at the end of the whole process, close them as a customer, right? So we're not going to focus on step number 1 and 2 because that's not really in the realm of what the inbound sales team is doing, but we're going to go through step number 3 to 9, all the way from activating them to closing them, and see how to perfect your process and how to think about inbound sales in a way that's going to be really effective. All right, let's start with the 2 primary tools that you're going to be using to activate people once they're kind of in your funnel. One is going to be email. The other one is going to be calling. Let's start with email. So when it comes to sales emails, there's just 4 really simple rules that apply that you have to keep in mind. Any kind of email that you're going to send to an incoming lead will first have to be opened, then read, then responded to. And typically you should think about what happens if after the first response people don't get back to you. What kind of follow-up plan do you have? Now, the crazy thing is that most companies, when they write emails for activating their incoming leads, they really spend way too little time on the first step, which is the most crucial step, which is having people actually open the emails that you sent to them. They spend way too much time on the reading portion, and then again, almost no time at the way that they end the email in a strong call to action to actually make people respond. And most companies, honestly, never actually have any kind of follow-up plan in their mind when they get started with writing up some emails to activate their incoming leads and engage them in sales conversations. Now, let me come right out of the gate and tell you guys that more likely than not, you're all not sending enough email to your incoming leads and your inbound leads. You're not. I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of founders. I've talked to every week I probably talk to 30, 40 founders, VPs of sales, entrepreneurs, startups, and almost all of them are not sending enough email. Let me give you a quick number just to give you guys a guiding base for what that means. So if somebody comes through your funnel online and either signs up for a trial or a demo, anything like that, they should get between 4 to 6 emails within the first 14 days of their initial conversion. 4 to 6 emails from you. You can automate all these, so you don't have to personally send one email at a time, which would be a huge time sink. We'll talk a little bit about automating emails. But the core takeaway here is that if somebody comes as an inbound lead and shows interest for your service and product, and you don't send them at least 4, if not better, 6 emails in the next 7 to 14 days, you're sending them way too little email. That's just a fact. And I'll give you some real examples of massively successful companies that have the inbound sales funnel figured out and how many emails and what specific emails they send. I'll show them to you case by case. All right, so let's talk a little bit about kind of setting up an automated email process so that you activate as many of your incoming leads as possible and you activate them to engage in a conversation so that sales can pick up on that conversation and qualify them and eventually close them as deals. So as we said, 4 to 6 emails during the trial. You have to think about a couple of things when you automate email, because during the trial and for the inbound leads, mostly you want to set up an automated email flow. You don't want to send manual emails. There's an exception to this rule, and that exception is if you're selling to Fortune 500 companies and your typical deal is worth over $100,000, you might not want to use these automated emails. You might want to look at every deal case by case or every inbound lead case by case because the volume is going to be really low. But if you're in kind of the mid-market or lower market segment, which most companies are, then you want to automate the entire process. So a couple of best practices on automating sales emails for inbound leads. Number one, make it semi-personal. So no emails are being sent to leads that are from contact at your company name or info at your company name or sales at your company name. You always want your automated emails to come from personal email domains that have names on them, preferably from your sales team. So it would be Stelly at close.io, Kevin at close.io, Anthony at close.io. Those were the emails that are the sent from versus contact at close.io. The reason for that is simple. Your actual response rate and activation rates go up dramatically if the person that receives your emails feels like that email was sent from a human being. And that's actually a guiding principle to all sales emails. Always ask yourself, does this email look like and feel like and read like it was sent by another human being versus does this feel like, read like, and look like it was automated or it's an email marketing, a marketing email or a newsletter email? Anything that looks unpersonal will dramatically decrease your open rate, read-through rate, and response rate. So you want to have that as high as possible, so use personal emails. There's a little hack. This is something you may or may not want to do, but I've seen this being implemented successfully with many companies, which is some companies go so far to make their automated emails look even more personal that they actually, in the welcome email, they actually have in the footer something that says send via my iPhone or send via my whatever iPad. And just by including that, although it's an automated email, it makes people feel and perceive that email as being something that was written up on a phone or an iPad or something, and makes them respond to it at a higher rate. This is a little borderline, kind of gray tactic, but something I wanted to bring up. So Benjamin asked what kind of solution we're using for drip emails. We're using a solution called Customer.io. Customer.io, there's GetDrip.com. There are many solutions. If you type in drip emails or life cycle emails, there's going to be tons of tools that are really good that you can find out there. So the next question is if you can actually automate these emails through Closeout. So the answer is no. Closeout doesn't offer you an automated drip email marketing tool today because we're very focused on the sales side of things, but we perfectly integrate with a tool like Customer.io, which those guys are really awesome. The tool is really simple, and you set up your Customer.io email settings in a way where all those drip emails that you send through Customer.io automatically are being loaded into Closeout, so everybody that you send an email, doesn't matter if it was a drip email or a personal one. So the integration with Customer.io works pretty well. So I would definitely advise you guys to check them out. All right, so you're sending these semi-personal emails. You obviously can do a lot more than just that. A lot of effective tactics. A lot of really successful SaaS businesses will use some kind of an email course or some kind of a sequence course over 6 to 7 emails, usually around 30 days. So a lot of times when you sign up for Closeout, for instance, in the sign-up flow, we'll ask you if you want to get our startup sales email course, which is around 9 to 10 emails over 30 days. And we've seen that that's a super effective process in actually getting your inbound leads to convert into customers later on. You can have a lot of events-driven emails that are automated. So some companies, if you're a little bit more sophisticated, instead of just sending people 4 to 6 emails that are like a welcome to your trial, how is it going? Oh, your trial's ending in 2 days. Do you want to talk to us? Like that's kind of very basic 3 emails that you could send. Some people are a lot smarter about the automated emails that they send, and they do it event-driven. So they see if somebody took certain activities or not, or if somebody has uploaded, let's say if you're a tool that's on people's website and you have to include a little JavaScript on somebody's website to use your tool, you would see if somebody actually included the JavaScript or not. And based on that, you would send them different emails. Hey, I've seen you've been on trial for 4 days and haven't included the JavaScript. Here's a simple guide on how to get started. Or just reply, we'll do it for you. Or if somebody has included the JavaScript, hey, congrats, I've seen that you've included the JavaScript and our product's already, analytics product is already running on your side. Let me know if you need any more help or if you want to jump on a call and talk about the next steps. Like you can really set kind of events-driven, intelligent emails based on the activity that people have. That usually works really well if people sign up for a trial. And then make sure that whatever email you send, don't just make it informational. The entire goal of the email is always to activate people. So at the end of every email, there should be one and only one, not 5, not 7, one call to action. Hey, do you want to schedule a call? Does next Tuesday or Wednesday work at this time? Please reply. Or hey, please reply to this email. Let me know what were the reasons you're looking into this. Or hey, please click on this to check out our this ebook white paper that we wrote. Every email should have one call to action. Sometimes I see companies send emails out that have like 4 calls to action. Hey, do you want to go on a call with us? Or check out this video that we have? Or also attach this ebook that you can read? Or if you have any questions, click on support. The more call to actions you have, the less people will actually convert to them and click on them and respond to them. But the other extreme to this is companies that send emails that are purely informational. Hey, I'm glad that you are on this platform. Welcome. Here's 10 things about us that I think would be interesting to you. Have a nice day. Cheers. Like that's obviously a wasted opportunity. Your entire goal for email should to get people on calls. When you do inbound sales emails, those emails should actually convert and activate people into taking actions, but also into engaging in a conversation that allows you to qualify them and later on close them in the funnel. So let's actually let me go back here. Let's actually look at some examples of companies that do an amazing job with this. So we'll look at some inbound sales emails that HubSpot is sending, and HubSpot is a very, very successful SaaS business. Basically, the company that coined inbound marketing as a term, and a company that's on the path to IPO. So let's see, if you're signing up for HubSpot for a trial, for instance, what kind of emails do you get from them? So I signed up for a trial. The very first email you get from them is an email that says, hey, Closer and HubSpot, time to chat. Not my favorite subject line in the world, but whatever. I just signed up. I get it. I open the email, and this is a fairly washed down email, right? It says, hey, Stelly, blah, blah, blah. I just saw that you signed up. Check out this video. I've also been checking out your website. I think we should chat. What would be a good time, noon or before 11:30 a.m. tomorrow, right? So, okay, fairly nice kind of little welcome email with a call to action to chat. I ignored that, right? No response from you. Then I get another email, a day or two later, another like Closer and HubSpot, like telling me what this is about, follow-up resources. Now, this is a really long email, and the reason why they do this is because they typically sell to, still mid-market customers, but larger, probably over 100 employees and up, to a few thousand employee companies. So this second email is kind of focused on giving me all the material I need to sell internally if I have to get other people's on board. So it's like a long email that talks about kind of background, includes white papers, tells me the ROI, we've increased 2.7% in traffic, and all the good stuff, and it has a bunch of attachments, so it's a lot of material. I obviously ignored that email. After a few days after that, I get the third email that say HubSpot and Closer. Again, I don't think those subject lines are great, to be honest with you, but whatever. Let's look at the body of it, the basic philosophy behind the emails. They said, hey, Stelly, per my message today, I got to actually call from the sales rep, got a voicemail. I called to see, what the decision-making process is looking like. And now is the deal. Now they want to offer me something to create urgency. More importantly, you need to know that our prices are going to be up. And my boss authorized that we will give you an amazing discount, of which I only have 2 to give out to, right? If you are interested in buying, let's talk right now, because we're going to increase the price, and I saved one of these discount codes for you, but it's going to run out by the 30th, right? So this is all about creating urgency, all about pushing me to actually make a decision. And because I'm in sales and I know this shit, I was like, yeah, this is all bullshit, and I ignored it. And now comes the fourth email, and this is actually a really good one, and one that converts really nicely for many people. The subject line here is actually really excellent, which is like, should I stay or should I go? And the entire email here is like, hey, dude, I reached out to you multiple times. I called you, I left voicemails, I emailed you. Here's what's going on. Either you don't care about this anymore, or you're not interested in our solution, and now they're being funny, you've fallen and you can't get up and you're encased of that, let me know and I'll call 911 for you, right? So dude, please reply to one of my emails. Please let me know what's going on, right? It's funny, but still I ignored it. And now is the last one, and the one I responded to, which is one of the most effective emails they send. Thank you from HubSpot. And now you open that email and it basically says, hey dude, I reviewed you and I reviewed all the efforts I made to reach out to you. Seems like you're not interested. So this is the very last email you get from me. I'll stop bothering you. Goodbye and good riddance, right? And this goodbye email that basically takes the deal away from me and tells me, you know what, I'm not going to care about you anymore. That's the email I responded to. And my response was, hey, I'm still interested. I just didn't have the time, blah, 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 this and that. Maybe we should chat another time. See how this worked, right? You welcome somebody nicely, you give them some material, you follow up and give them some kind of an offer and try to activate them. You ask them why they're not replying to you, and at the end, you take it away. You say, you know what, dude, I'm done with this. I'm gonna stop emailing you. And that's usually the email that people respond to. Let's look at another example, because the beauty of this other example is that they are using the exact same template, the exact same formula. HubSpot is very much a B2B software marketing automation tool, so they sell to other businesses. Trunk Club is a B2C play. They sell to dudes that don't know how to go shopping and are not stylish, but have over $1,000 a quarter to spend on looking good. So they basically put together packages and boxes full of expensive clothes for you and ship it to you. So here's what happens when you sign up for Trunk Club. First email, again, is like important information on your first shipment. And this is a good subject line because I'm like, did I already buy something? So I open it, right? So, and this is all about, hey, I'm Lizzie, I'm your personal blah, blah, blah. What would be a good time for us to chat to see what kind of style you have and how to put your first thing together? I ignored that. Next email is, hey, Stelly, your stylist here. And the second one is like basically, hey, dude, you haven't replied yet. Let's get on a call so I can start putting together awesome fashion, make you look awesome. I ignore that. Next email, third email is, hey, are you still interested? I've been trying to get in touch with you. It would be really awesome to put together your first trunk club. What would be a good time to chat? I ignored that email. And then the fourth email is goodbye from trunk club. That's a great subject line. Got my full attention immediately. Opened that email, and it basically says, hey, dude, I really wanted to connect with you, but you don't seem to be interested, so this will be the last time you hear from me. I responded and said, you know what? No, I'm actually interested. I just didn't have the time, blah, blah, blah. It's a very, very powerful email. It's the exact same formula. Although they sell to individuals, they follow the exact same formula, and that for a very good reason. As I said, I'm going to share with you guys this presentation so you all guys can learn and copy from the best. And also, the whole session is recorded so you can share it with your team. Steal from the best. This formula works. All right, let's look at once people respond to your email, or even when they don't respond, how to use calling and picking up the phone and dialing somebody's number as they're coming in as inbound leads to actually reach them, activate them, qualify them, and close them. So again, sales calls really follow the same simple formula as sales emails. Like sales emails need to be open, read, responded to, right, and follow up to. In sales calls, first you have to reach people, which is the hardest thing to do. You have to sound good because, it's a lot more like content is important. What you say is important, but how you say it plays a massive role in how it's perceived. You want to ask questions to be able to qualify people. You have to manage objections because people will have objections, things that stand in way between themselves and buying your solution or product, and then you need to close them, right? So let's go through a couple of these really, really quickly. So most importantly is reaching people. And here's a pro tip that you all should follow. You need to call all your incoming leads within 5 minutes of them signing up or contacting you or filling out a form. 5 minutes is the golden formula. So what is it good? What's the value of an incoming lead if they sign up and show you interest and you call them 2 or 3 days later and you don't reach them, and then you call them again, you don't reach them, and you call them again, you don't reach them? Kind of a wasted opportunity. There's actually studies out there that show that if you call somebody within 5 minutes of them signing up or contacting you, that your reach rate will go up 100%. And the reasons are really obvious. If I sign up for your product right now and you call me a minute after my sign up, chances are, number one, that I know who you are, what you're talking about. Chances are that I'm not in a meeting because I just was spending time signing up for your product. And chances are that I'm on my laptop, on my machine. So like you have my full attention. The context of the conversation is fully there because I've just spent time reading your website, filling out a form, checking out what you're doing. And last but not least, you know that I'm probably not outside, probably not, in my car because I just signed up on your website. So if you're able to call somebody within 5 minutes of them signing up, your reach rates will go up dramatically, which means that your effectiveness will be tremendously better because you're not wasting all this time calling people that you're not reaching, listening to dial tones, listening to voicemails, having to remember to follow up again. Like, isn't it a lot better if you just call all the inbound leads immediately and you reach all of them? Not all of them, but like 90% of them. Like that's what the pros do. That's what the big boys do, and big girls, and the people that really know what they're doing. And that's really the highest art of inbound sales kung fu. Not just email everybody and have like an automated email process in place, but call everyone and call them immediately because it makes a dramatic difference in your reach rates, right? So now that you call them within 5 minutes, what do you do, right? What do you do in that call? A lot of salespeople, a lot of startups, a lot of companies would tell me, well, but they just signed up. What do I do? Like, what do I can't sell them. They haven't really had a chance to trial our product. Well, first activate them, right? So once you call them within five minutes, here's the simplest inbound sales script in the world. Hey, John, I just saw that you signed up for a trial and wanted to personally take the time to call you and welcome you to your trial. I wanted to see if there's anything I can do to point you in the right direction to make sure that you get the most out of your trial. That's it. That's it. Just, hey, I just wanted to personally welcome you. And now you can ask a few questions, actually discover how did they hear about you? What are the problems that they have and the needs they have? What are some of the questions they have that you can answer immediately to point them in the right direction? Make sure that they don't waste time in your product in a way that will lead them ultimately to leave the trial and decide that the product is not for them. Ask them questions so that you can actually qualify them. And we'll talk about qualifying people a lot more because it's super crucial in the inbound sales funnel. So you'll ask them some question. Hey, what is important to you guys? What's your process like? What are you looking for? What other tools do you use? What's your budget? What's your sales process, et cetera, et cetera. So it will allow you to create a pipeline and understand who actually qualifies for your product versus not. Who should you be focusing on from all the inbound leads that you're getting? And hopefully you're getting more and more and more as your marketing is ramping up and becoming more and more successful. So once you're getting tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of leads, you have to start realizing and ranking which of these leads are more valuable than others and which of them really actually qualify for a product. So which ones should we focus on selling? And then last but not least, you try to close them. In the first call, you might not want to close them on buying your solution immediately. You might want to close them on setting up another call with the key decision makers. Or you might want to close them on that they checked out your product and it looks too expensive and why it's not too expensive and it's really, really valuable, or it doesn't look mature enough and why it is. Like you have actually a chance to influence them and guide them in the right direction so they think about your product and your service in a way that you want them to think about. All right, so now that you called everyone within 5 minutes, you activate them, you discovered a lot more about your market and your customers, you qualified them. Let's talk a little bit more about the portion of the qualifying side of things, because that's really, really crucial. In inbound leads, one of the core, after you activated people, the next goal that you have in the conversion funnel is to actually qualify them. Figure out who is a qualified customer, who is an actual qualified lead for us. So there's 3 layers, 3 levels on which you want to qualify people. Number 1 is look at the customer profile and see if it matches your ideal customer, right? There could be size. If you're selling your solution and you figured out that your ideal customer are companies that are less than 10 people, then that's a really important thing to know, because if you talk to somebody for an hour and you feel like, oh, this was an amazing call, and at the end of it, you find out that they have 10,000 employees, deal's done, right? You know your solution will never actually work. So you want to find out some things like customer size. How many employees do you guys have? The use case that they want to use it in. For what do they want to use it? So if somebody signs up for Closer and they want to do marketing automation with it, then we can tell them, listen, sorry, but this is not really where we're strong. Like, this is not really the use case. If somebody has a field sales force of thousands of people that are going knocking on doors every day, door to door, if that's the use case of sales software they're looking for, we'll tell them, no, you don't qualify. We don't qualify for you. You don't qualify for us. This is not really something you should look into. So customer profile qualifying is all about learning what's the size of the company, what's the use case they're looking for, what's the industry. In some cases, some industries might be better for you than others. What's the history of kind of other tools and products they've used. Some companies have figured out that the most qualified customers they have are customers that are really tech savvy, so they only sell to customers that are also using other software tools in a similar fashion. Whatever it is, you develop a customer profile, and then when you qualify people, you figure out if they match that customer profile. The next thing you want to qualify people on are the needs they have, right? You want to figure out and learn, why is this person interested in what we do? What are the needs that the team will have that will ultimately use this product or product? What are the overarching needs and goals that the company has? You want to understand all the stakeholders and their needs and the things the way they are thinking about things and the reason why they're looking into your solution, so you can actually effectively sell them at the end of the day, but also figure out if, again, this is a qualified customer, if their needs are matching your solution, the problems they have matching the solution that you have to address these problems. And then last but not least, you want to qualify them on the decision-making process. You want to figure out, hey, who are all the stakeholders involved? Hey, who are you, the person I'm talking to from that organization? What's your decision-making power? Are you the ultimate decision maker? Are you just a gatekeeper or early researcher? Who else will be involved in the decision-making process? And what's the time to close here? Like, are you actually in the market right now? How much time will you take before you make a final decision? Are you looking at other people's solutions as well, or only into ours? Like, are you looking into building the solution internally versus buying a solution? Like, you want to figure out what is the decision and buying process of this potential customer. And once you've checked off that they are the ideal customer profile, they have the right needs that you can address, and the decision making and buying process that they have is something that you're interested in and that's realistic and where they actually are in the market. Some companies will sign up for a trial and then tell you, no, we're not going to buy anything in the next 2 years. Why? They're disqualified. There's no reason for you to spend any time, mind share, or energy on trying to close them if you know that for reason X, Y, Z, they just signed a contract with a competitor of yours for the next 3 years. There's no way they're going to ever buy. So there's no way for you to sell to them. So you shouldn't waste any time trying to sell to them or attempting to sell to them. So really crucial, once somebody signed up or comes in as an inbound lead, you set up automated emails to activate them. You call them really early on, preferably within the first 5 minutes to activate them. And when you have them on the phone, you can actually qualify them and figure out, should they actually move into the next stage of the funnel? Should our sales team, our inbound sales team, should we actually focus energy and time on trying to close them? Now, a lot of times, once you've qualified them, you'll want to show them your product. That is obviously relevant to most companies that have kind of an online product to demo or software product to demo. So let's talk about demos as parts of pitching in the inbound sales funnel a little bit. Number one, your demos are way too long, right? Your demos are way too long. And in many cases, you're giving your demos to too many people. Hence why I brought up the qualifying before the demoing or pitching your product. A lot of times I see salespeople in inbound sales teams, they'll pick up the phone, they call an inbound lead, and they'll start selling. Like they'll start pitching, here's why we're great, here's who else is using us, here's all the reasons, all the features, all the functionalities that we have. And then they go in, can I show you a demo? And then they spent like 30, 40 minutes demoing, and then they'll find out that the person was never qualified to buy. Wow, now we wasted an hour of time selling somebody that should have never bought to in the first place. So make sure that you first qualify and then you demo or pitch. When you demo, make sure your demo is 15 minutes or less. Too many demos, almost every product demo I see is too long. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, but our product really can't be demoed in 15 minutes. Well, fuck you. Right? I mean, your product can be demoed in 50 minutes. Your product can be demoed in 5 minutes. It's all about editing. It's all about taking away all the unnecessary and focusing on the core essentials that people need to learn. I see demos all the time where people are clicking on things. Are you crazy? Are you nuts? Well, I'm going to show you how you can invite other team members in our product. You go over here with your mouse and you click on the invite others button. And then why the hell do you have to show me how you click a button in the product? Why can't you just say, our product allows you easily to invite a lot of other people. And even inviting other people should never be part of your demo if your product is not a referral invite tool, right? Just take away everything that's unnecessary and show me the core things that really matter. Like, how is this product actually creating value, making a difference in my life? And you can do that in 15 minutes. And then leave another 50 minutes for the other side to ask questions. Be like, oh, I'm really curious about how you invite users. Can you show that to me click by click? Cool. All right. If they're really interested in that, which would raise a red flag to me if somebody's really interested in that step by step. But if they are, show it to them. But don't show them everything, all the features, every little click, every little link, every little thing. People think that people intrinsically feel like an online demo should be an educational session where you train them in every single feature and every single functionality of your product. No, those things are called trainings, right? And they're usually reserved for your customers, preferably paying customers. Demos are a sales tool. It's about demonstrating how your tool is going to create value versus teaching them all the functionality, right? There's a clear distinction in most product demos that I see seem to be confused about their purpose. The purpose of the demo is to sell. It's to demonstrate the value of your product. It's not to show everything your product is capable of doing, right? It's really not. So make sure that your demos are quick, to the point, focused on the qualified leads, and focused on benefits versus showing all the features that are possible. It seems like somebody in this building has decided that now is the right time for them to start hammering on walls. So I don't know if you guys hear this, but if so, just if you have to give you some context, it's some neighbor like putting on a nice picture or something. I don't know what they're doing. All right, so now that we've activated people through emails and calls, we've qualified them. and we know that they're really, really good buyers and they really should buy our product or service, and we've demonstrated, gave them a demo of how our product and service works, now typically people and companies will have objections, right? People will have reasons why they don't want to buy, reasons what's wrong with your product or service. And you need to be prepared for that. And there's easy ways to prepare to managing objections. First and foremost, create an FAQ document. Create like a managing objection document where you take the 10 most frequent objections people have, like, we don't have the time, it's too expensive, we're looking to your competitor that's much bigger than you, we're thinking about building this internally, is this really secure enough? Whatever it is, every company has kind of different rankings of objections that people have, but you'll realize once you've done 100 sales calls, 1,000, whatever the number is, once you've done probably between 20, 30, 40, you'll realize that there's a few objections like that come up again and again and again. Don't be surprised by that. Don't try to address these objections in real time and compute the answers in real time, case by case. Write a document, write down the best answers you could think of, and write them down in a sentence or a paragraph, like 1 or 2 sentences versus full paragraphs or pages. And the core effectiveness of this exercise is not so much about like learning these by memory and being a robot that just recites things from memory. It's about having clarity, being able to answer an objection in a sentence or two versus computing the answers in real time, which a lot of times leads to answers that are not concise and take way too long and are like babbling and like rambling on because you're just thinking about how to answer this in the best way while you're talking. Right? That's not usually put your best foot forward, and it's not usually a really effective way to be super concise. And being concise, more important about what you're saying is the underlying message that you send to the potential buyer and prospect, which is that, oh, these guys seem to have clarity and confidence when it comes to this issue that I just brought up. They don't seem to be flabbergasted by it. They don't seem to be confused by it. And it doesn't seem like something where they're like, yeah, you're right, the security thing, well, this is the way we're doing it. No, they're able to answer it in one sentence. Security thing is really important. Here's what we do. We do X, Y, and Z to address that. And we have these 10 massively big companies that are happy with our security. So we're sure we can do that with you too, right? Just being able to answer things concisely in a sentence or two, which will raise the level of confidence people have in your solution because you seem to be super confident about it. And then last but not least, when it comes to managing objections, like have an FAQ document and an objection management document, but more importantly, make sure that you listen really carefully to people. So it's not just the words they use, but you pay attention to how they say things. So you can actually separate the real objections from the fake ones, right? So some people say, well, yeah, this looks good, but I think the pricing is too high. And sometimes the pricing objection is a real objection and people actually think it's too expensive. But many times people just say pricing because it's the easiest way out. There's something else they didn't like about your solution or product, or you, frankly. Sometimes people don't buy because they don't like the person that they need to buy from. Right? We're all human beings at the end of the day. So instead of saying, I don't like you, or I thought that your product really looks ugly, or whatever it is that the real objection is, they say, oh yeah, this is probably too expensive for us, or whatever. So how do you separate real from fake? Well, you have to listen carefully and listen to more than just the content, but also the context. Not the what, but how. How did they say what they said? Did it sound really convincing? Did it really make sense in the broader context? Like, oh yeah, we're calling from Coca-Cola, but your $100 a month product is priced too high for us, right? If something doesn't compute, if something doesn't make sense, probably is because what they're saying is maybe not what they're really thinking. And your job in sales is to tactfully and with elegance stimulate them to actually tell you what's really going on, right? So if you talk to people and what they say don't make sense, you can say, you know what, that is really weird. That's really curious. Is it really the pricing, or if we really actually address your problem in the best way possible, you'd have the budget for this? Yeah, you're right. Maybe if this did X, Y, and Z more, we could actually, the pricing wouldn't be an issue, but it seems to be only addressing one of our points, and for that it's too expensive, right? Like sometimes just asking honestly, hey, this is really curious. Is it true that if we did everything perfectly, that really the pricing would stop you? So let me ask you this: if we actually got to the price point that you had in mind, would you buy immediately? Right? And that's a great qualifying and clarifying question. Oh, if we actually had the price, if we actually reduced it to the price that you had in mind, would you buy immediately? And 9 out of 10 times people go, oh no, because your security thing is there, and maybe your product doesn't address all our issues. Yeah, now you're gonna get the real versus the fake one. And then if there's an elephant in the room, don't tiptoe around it, address it, right? That's really a powerful and empowering way to manage an objections. So sometimes, some companies will always face the same issue. Like you have a tool that needs to be installed behind the firewall, and every single customer you talk to is afraid of the security issues with your solution. If you know that that's an issue, don't hide behind it. Don't try to run away from it. Don't cross your fingers being like, I hope this will be the one sales call where people will bring this up. No, address it immediately. Like say, you know what, now that we figured out through the qualifying process that you really are a great buyer and you should really buy our solution, and I demonstrated you how it works and we went through your objections and it feels like this is the right tool. You didn't have a chance to bring this up, but let me tell you, 9 out of 10 times when I talk to customers your size, the security issue is a big concern, right? Do you guys feel the same way, that security is going to be a really important thing? And then have them say, yeah. Well, let me tell you how we deal with the security aspects. We have A, B, and C, and we do it in this and this fashion, and this is the reason why you should trust us, and this is the way why all these other companies have trusted us and are happy and successful with us. Does that sound fine, or what do you think else will we have to do to make you guys feel comfortable and confident in the solution from a security perspective, right? If they don't bring it up, you bring it up. Address the elephant in the room. Make sure that you managing objections is one of the most awesome things in sales, because it's partially the reason you have a reason for existing, right? If all you had to do is send some automated emails and people would look at the product and a product demo video and then sell themselves, there would be no reason to have salespeople. A big reason why salespeople still exist is because people have objections, questions, things they're concerned about, afraid about, some of them rational, many of them emotional. And here's where you as a salesperson and you having sales skills actually makes a difference to the bottom line of your business. So embrace the objections, look for them, and then professionally address them and help those people, guide them through all their confusions and problems and objections to a land of clarity and excitement and confidence in your product and solution. All right, so now that we got all that out of the way, we activated them, we qualified them, we demonstrated our product, we managed the objections. Usually, in the final step of buying the product, they'll have some not objections, but they will have some things they want to negotiate around, right? And I want to just give 3 quick tips on how to negotiate with things that typically you will encounter when you're doing a lot of inbound inside sales. So a lot of times people will ask for references. Hey, the first call, hey, yeah, after you qualify them, they'll ask you, hey, can I talk to other customers that are successful and happy with your solution? I'd really love to talk to 2 or 3 other customers before we even go further down the trial. So the answer to this is always yes, but at the right time. So your references, your happy customers, the people you sold, you closed, you serviced today, and that love you and are happy and successful with you, those are your most precious sales resources. These people, these customers, these references are your extended sales team, your sales backup team. You should use them, absolutely use them to close more deals and close the really important big deals, but you need to use them carefully and you need to use them as the precious resource they are. So if you give out references too early in the process, like just right after you qualified somebody, but you didn't have any chance to manage their objections, they didn't really get a demo, they didn't really trial the product, you didn't really get to the pricing point. If you give them the reference too early, here's what's going to happen. You're going to burn out too many of your references because you're going to be giving them out too many. So your customers are talking to too many of your prospects. And too many times what's going to happen is they're going to talk to a reference and then they're going to decide not to buy. And when we're going to talk to them, you're going to be like, well, yeah, I mean, it was really good to talk to these 2-3 references that you had, and we really like what they said, but we realized we're too early in the process, and probably we're going to have to buy your product in 2-3 years. Well, why the fuck did they ever talk to a reference? That's something you should have figured out in the sales process, and you didn't need your customers to take half an hour, an hour to talk to somebody to figure that out. Your customers will get burned out. They're going to talk to too many of these, your reference customers, going to talk to too many bad prospects, and then they're going to have too many failures, too many times where they're going to talk to somebody, and at the end, the person will say, well, this was really helpful. Thanks for taking the time to tell me about the experience. I don't think we're going to buy. What kind of signal is that sending to your reference customers? Not the right one, right? So here's what you say. You say, hey, I'm absolutely happy to connect you with our happy customers. We're going to do that in the right at the right time, though. Once you've actually had a chance to trial a product, once we went through all the steps, and you're basically ready to buy. We answered all your questions, and we know it's a perfect solution. You're just about ready to buy. That's the time I'm more than happy to connect you as a last step to kind of a happy and successful customers to make sure that you get the outside reference before you actually sign the contract or seal the deal. Does that sound fair enough to you? And like we've done this hundreds and hundreds of times. Every time somebody asks for a reference, if you tell them, yes, I'm going to give you one at the right time, a little further down the sales process, they'll all say yes. They'll all say that's fine. And that's the way that you're going to actually create, you're not going to burn out your reference, but also you're going to create a lot of success stories for them. So every time your customer talks to a potential customer, it should lead to a close. At the end of that call, the customer should say, you know what, this was really helpful. This was the last thing we needed. Yes, we're also going to buy. Right? That's going to create the kind of confidence and excitement that you want your reference customers to have. All right, so that's one. The next one on the negotiation side in inbound sales and inside sales is discounts. A lot of times people super early in the process will ask for discounts. They will say, yeah, well, I looked at your product and it's interesting, but it's too expensive. This other product is much cheaper. Can you make it cheaper than that? The answer to that is always no, right? Because here's the deal. When you do inbound and inside sales, you want to sell based on value, and sales in general, you always want to sell based on value, never on price. Selling on price is a race to the bottom, and it's something that you should leave off to the Walmarts of the world. But most likely, you want to sell to people because they really, really want the value that your product creates, not because it's the cheapest thing in town, right? So when people ask for discounts, here's another way to actually deal with it. So generally, you will be giving out discounts. In many cases, it's unavoidable. It's just the way the market works. But you just don't want to say yes to people early in the cycle. Again, first they need to qualify. Then, like discounts is also something that should come at the end of the cycle. Sometimes people will tell you, "Hey, I really love your product. I just need one little tiny feature of it. These other 5,000 features we will never use. So it's kind of painful for us to pay the entire massive price." And this will sound you'll be very sympathetic to that. This will sound very reasonable to you. So you'll be inclined to be like, yeah, let me give you a discount. But never ever give a discount that early in the sales process. So again, here's a simple way to deal with incoming inquiries about discounts right out of the bat. You tell people, listen, I totally respect that you're asking to get the best price for the product. What I would ask you in return, and we're certainly open to that, but what I would ask you in return is to first actually realize the value that our product can bring before we talk about discounts. So here's the deal. Why don't you use the product for a full month? Why don't you really, really give it a run for its money and you really use it for a full month? And after you actually use it and you totally confirm that this is the right product and the best product in the market, I'll give you the best possible price for it. Does that sound fair enough? 9 out of 10 times people are happy with that. And many of these people will not go through 30 days of usage because after a few days they realize that it's not the right product or they were never really that serious about it. So never compete on discounting before somebody actually realized that your product is really valuable. Once they really used it and they love it and they just need a little lighter price, yeah, sure, give them a discount. Maybe you sell them on a 1-year contract or some other mechanism to actually make it a fair exchange. And then last but not least, a pro tip. If you can't, I know inbound sales and inside sales, a lot of times you'll talk to lots and lots of people. They'll want to negotiate with you, and you're kind of going to negotiate with them one-on-one. A pro tip, always negotiate in pairs. Here's like a massive thing why big companies are really amazing in negotiation. It's not that everybody who works at a large corporation is like a master negotiation. Far from it. But large organizations have a process in place that forces the best possible outcome to come out of it. And one of these processes is that a lot of times when you talk to large customers, large organizations, the person you're negotiating with first, that's kind of your quote-unquote champion, is not the person you're negotiating with at the end of it. So the person at the beginning will be all excited about your solution, will make you spend time qualifying them, demonstrating, answering all their questions, supporting them during the trial. They'll make you invest more and more time and effort and energy and sweat and blood into the deal. And then they'll hand you off to a department that doesn't give a shit about you, like the legal or procurement department. And now you've invested so much time, and the more time you invest, the more bought in you are in the deal, the harder it is for you to move away from the deal. So the more you're ready to make concessions in order to close the deal. So you've invested all this time with this really friendly force, and then they move you over to somebody that has no stake in the deal, that has spent zero time, and where all they care about is actually like squeezing you out of the least little bit of whatever they can get out of you. So you go through procurement, and they push you for the pricing, and they really don't care because you spend months and months and months trying to close this deal. You'll make a lot more concessions than you would be able or willing to do in the early days, and then they'll push you off to legal. And like every step, you'll make a few more compromises and a few more steps. It's going to get harder and harder for you to step back from that deal or away from it. In the end, they're going to get the optimized deal they could ever get. Now, when you're a smaller team, you don't have 100 departments to do this. So what you do is you make sure that at the end of the negotiation deal, always bring in somebody from your company that has zero stakes in this deal to confirm that the negotiations that you have are good ones. So we'll do this a lot, and sometimes we'll bring in somebody from engineering, like even somebody that's not from sales. We'll have a salesperson pick up an engineer and say, "Hey, here's the deal. I've been working on this deal for a month. This is the company. This is why they're so amazing. Here's what they want. Here's where we are. And now they're asking for this last little thing, and I really want to give it to them." And then the engineer, because they don't care, will be like, "Well, that makes no sense. They should pay this, or you should get back to them with that and that." And then, interestingly enough, almost always the salesperson will actually start taking the side of the customer and go, "Well, no, but I think it's totally reasonable, and why can't we give them this?" And then it's going to be this like back and forth. And if there's enough respect in the team, more often than not, in our case at least, more often than not, at the end, the salesperson goes, yeah, you're actually right. Let me go back to them and offer them what you just said, or let me get back to them and not just say yes, but actually make one final counter offer." And almost always, the customer will take the counter offer, and you'll have saved tons and tons of money or get a lot better deal out of it, just because you made sure that you're not negotiating the entire time yourself. You're actually involving towards the end of it somebody who doesn't care about the deal, so they can be really objective and have the right distance to have perspective on the deal, and challenge you on all the concessions that you're willing to make, because you're kind of like you're so bought into this deal. All right. I'm actually gonna jump over this. There's enough presentations on blog posts about this topic, and I want to have a few more minutes. So I'll rush through this last point a little bit. But here's a really important point that way too many salespeople don't really realize, that follow up and follow through is really where winning happens. Most companies, most salespeople, most sales organizations optimize heavily and focus heavily on what happens at the beginning of the sales process, and they don't care a lot about what happens after it. Showing up is certainly half of the win, but the other half is following up and following through. And here's a very simple philosophy that I have on follow-up and follow-ups. So my very simple philosophy on this is, if I've ever engaged in a conversation, this is not about outbound, this is inbound. If somebody came in and showed interest and we engaged, and then at some point of the sales process, either early on or late on, people go silent, they don't call me back, or they don't reply to my emails, I will follow up as many times as it takes until they do. It's binary. And I don't care about what their response is. It doesn't matter if they say yes or no or fuck off, but I will follow up endlessly forever until I get a reply or a response. And that attitude is a very simple strategy that has led to massive, massive success in many, many cases. We've closed countless deals because we follow up more than others. We raised money with spectacular investors, and they told us all the reason why they invested was because we follow up more than other entrepreneurs did. So it's a very, very simple formula. When you do cold outreach, which here is irrelevant, you can't do follow-up unlimited. You can, if you send somebody an email that has never heard of you, you might want to follow up one more time or two, and that's that. But if somebody actually came into your funnel or contacted you, or you had a sales call with them or sales meeting or any other real engagement, you follow up forever until you hear back from them. And most times people think that because you've sent somebody an email, like 2, 3, 4 emails, they haven't replied, you think, well, they probably lost interest, so you'll lose interest. But more often than not, people don't lose interest. People just lose focus. Other people's lives doesn't revolve around your company, your solution, your product, or you as a person. They have other things come up. They have crises. They have personal issues, the business issues. There are all kinds of other things that are happening that take away their focus on buying your product. And here's the secret. If you stay on top of your game and you just stay following up with them, more often than not, after like the 4th, 5th, the 7th, the 12th follow-up, they'll respond and they'll say, oh my God, I feel so bad. Thank you so much for staying on top of this. We had this big crisis, or we had this big, whatever, something happened. And I totally want to jump on a call tomorrow because we really are now ready to buy. And you know who they're not going to buy from? Your competitors. Because all your competitors stopped following up eventually because they felt like, oh, these guys are not interested anymore. So follow up as much as possible until you get a reply. Now, in terms of frequency, you want to time this. You follow up a day after, 3 days, 5, 7, then maybe every week, every 2 weeks, every 3, every 4 weeks, and then every month. So don't go too crazy on the frequency. Make sure that your follow-ups are always clean and professional. Don't be needy. Don't reference back. This is the 34th follow-up. Why haven't you replied to me? This is outrageous. No, always keep it cool, even if it's the 40th follow-up. Hey, another beautiful day in paradise. I hope this week is great. We weren't able to connect. How about this Tuesday or Wednesday at 10 a.m.? Just keep it super professional and clean. And then email is probably the best channel to follow up with people because it's least intrusive and you can do it many, 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 many times. The phone is a bit more urgent, gets a bit more attention, but you can't call somebody 40 times. Kind of that's not necessarily acceptable. And then in person is the most focused and attention demanding follow-up. So this would be only something that I would recommend for like large multi-million dollar deals. But a lot of multi-million dollar deals have been closed because somebody was following up, not hearing anything, and then they eventually did hey, we were in the area and we thought we'd stop by your office. You wouldn't believe how many massive deals were closed just because of that. So it is a potential way to actually follow up and follow through and close the deal. And we'll not go through, there's a bunch of people that actually now have followed this follow-up philosophy and have had tremendous success with it. I'm not going to go through these references now. You can read up on them online and many, many different other places. So last point I'll make is how do you actually create urgency in inbound and inside sales? How do you make people actually make a decision quickly when they're like, yeah, this all looks interesting, but we'll take all the time in the world to go there? I'm actually going to skip over the first step, and I'm going to send you guys a link that describes this strategy in a lot more detail. But there's really two things that especially a lot of SaaS businesses have used to actually create urgency to push people to make decisions faster in inbound sales. One is an upcoming price increase. So the more mature your company is, the more times you're actually probably going to increase your price a little bit. And a lot of times those price increases are real opportunities to create urgency, to close your current funnel and pipeline and make people buy more seats because you're going to grandfather them on the old price. So you'll tell people, hey, we're about to increase our price in the next few weeks. You're just trialing our product. If you make a buying decision by the 10th, 20th, 30th of this month, you're going to get the old price for life, right? For all the seats that you purchase or all the accounts or whatever. So price increase is a great way to kind of force urgency in the final stages of the sales funnel so they actually make a buying decision today and don't wait around forever. And the reverse of that is giving them other incentives that are going to run out and running like promotions and campaigns. So incentives could be things like discounts, like, hey, this month we'll run a special July World Cup promotion where if you buy this month, we're going to give you a 20% lifetime discount on our product, right? But you have to make a buying decision by the 30th. So you could discount the product and give some BS reason why and why you're doing it, during this month with a kind of timeline attached to it. You could give them the incentive of additional seats. Hey, this month we are running a buy one get one free promotion. So if you have 10 users that would need to buy this product, you could actually just buy 5 and get 5 other seats for free. You could offer them features or upgrades. So say, hey, this month if you buy at least 4 of our lowest tier seats, we're actually gonna for free upgrade you to our most professional plan, right? And you could offer them services and services for free. So you could say, hey, if you buy this month, we're gonna give you our premium enterprise consulting or support or service for 1 year that's worth $5,000 for free, right? Can make all kinds of incentives up, but incentives are a tested and proven model in inbound and inside sales to actually help your customers make buying decisions quicker. So you should utilize all these strategies to help people to make buying decisions as quickly as possible. So we're kind of right on time at the 60-minute mark. If you guys have any, some people asked a few questions in the middle of the session, but if you have any additional questions on inbound and inside sales or any other thing that I mentioned in this session, just write it in the chat. I'm going to be online for the next 10 minutes answering questions, and taking the time to do so. But if you want to reach out personally to me, do it. Please do it. Reach out, Steli, S-T-E-L-I, at close, C-L-O-S-E.io, Steli at close.io, and ask any questions if you need any support. I want to support you and help you guys as much as possible to get your inbound sales game to the next level, make you guys black belt inbound sales kung fu martial artists. This is as much as I can stretch the metaphor. So let me know if you have any questions, either now or later via email. I wish you guys nothing but success. May the rest of the day bring lots of closed deals.